રિએક્શન્સ કરીને એક ઓપ્શન છે અને એ રિએક્શન્સમાં મારું એક ફેવરેટ ઓપ્શન છે, this is called thumbs up. ઓકે, સો બધા જ લોકો, everyone right now please put a thumbs up on your screen. હવે હું બધાને જોઈ રહી છું. ઓકે, આ તો કરવું જ પડશે, જો નહીં કર્યો હોય ને તો પછી હું જ કાઢી દઈશ નાખીશ તમને. I'm not trying to threaten you. I'm just trying to get your attention. Okay. So I would say about 60-70% people gave me a thumbs up. A lot of you did not, but that's okay. Why I'm saying is because this is the time why we are trying to get your attention. અને am I trying to get this attention મારી માટે કે ભાઈ oh, I am somebody who really needs attention? Okay, well, that could be true. I'm somebody who needs a lot of attention, but that's not the point. જો આપણે આવી રીતે ઇન્ટરેક્ટ નહીં કરીએ તો જે આખું સેશનનું જે ઇમ્પેક્ટ હોય એ જતું રહે. Why? Because this is what happens. Okay, I'm watching Anna ma'am on the phone. I'm watching I'm watching હા મમ્મી ખાવામાં શું બનાવ્યું છે, something like that, right? So I don't want કે તમે મને ફોન પર કે કમ્પ્યુટર પર જોતા જોતા તમે સુઈ જાઓ કે તમે ખાવા બેસી જાઓ. જો તમે એ બધું કરતા હોય તો just pause all those things for a while. Take out this time for yourself. આજે તમે અહીંયા આવ્યા છો, dedicate this time to something good. આપણે ખાલી આપણો નામ સ્ક્રીન પર આવે એટલી માટે અમે લોકો આજે નથી આવ્યા છે, આપણે કંઈ શીખીને જઈએ એટલા માટે આવ્યા છે. ઓકે, સો ઇન ધેટ સ્પિરિટ વેલકમ એવરીવન. અને for those who have attended my impression management session in person before, this is nothing like that. આનું content, આનું structure બધું જ અલગ છે, and it is alag based on what I have learned over the past few years, over between the time since I last did this to now that I am doing this. Okay, so once again, let's do a little bit finger warm-ups. Okay, so everybody who's ready for the session and who says that okay, I'm going to be interactive, હું ઇન્ટરેક્ટ કરીશ. ઓકે, જે પણ લોકો હોય જે આ વાતની હા પાડી રહ્યા છે, પ્લીઝ ચેટ બોક્સમાં યસ ટાઈપ કરો, YES, कि yes, I am going to participate. Just put it into chat box right now. Yes. Okay, I got a yes with 4 S's, so that's fun. Okay, all right. Okay, good. Now I tell this finger warm-ups કેમકે webinars the communication happens only with these messages that you can send, or sometimes the unmuting that you can do, or sometimes the screen that you can put on. But every time you put something in the chat box, it becomes the responsibility of the presenter to look into it and respond to it. So thank you very much. To promise you from my end, you have my complete attention for the next whatever time that we spend together. Okay, having said that, આજનું presentation. Okay, and જો કોઈને નહીં દેખાતું હોય તો please again chat box માં મને કહીને જણાવો, because that's the only way again that I will know whether or not you are able to see the screen or not. Okay, great.
We are able to see, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir. So impression management, and that's my name and that's my website for anybody who wants to see. And why I love this topic so much, I love this topic so much because impression management is not just આપણે શું પહેર્યું છે, કે આપણે કેવી રીતનો મેકઅપ કર્યો છે ને વાળ કર્યા છે ને ફોર મેન દાઢી કેવી રીતની ડિઝાઇનમાં ગ્રૂમ કરી છે. It's not anything like, it's nothing to do with impression management. લોકોને લાગે કે બહુ સુપરફિશિયલ વસ્તુ છે. It's not like that. Impression management જરૂરી છે કેમકે impression management has been digged into your brain, and not just your advanced brain. આપણે જે શું કહેવાય, જે the cerebral cortex છે, it is not a function of just your cerebral cortex. It's actually somewhere deeper than that. Okay, it is called the midbrain area, that is a relaying center for impression management. Okay, and that's why I love it, because લોકોને લાગે છે કે ઓ લાઈક યુ નો સારા કપડા હોય ને સારું મેકઅપ હોય ને સારા વાળ હોય ને બધું આ લાઈક આપણે બારોબારથી બધું સારું કરીને જઈએ તો ઇમ્પ્રેશન મેનર્સ થઈ ગયો. ઇટ્સ a little more complex like that, and we don't even know it કેમ કે આ impression management ની કોઈ class નહીં બને. Okay, I know there is this personal grooming classes that take place. I don't remember the name of it, but I know that used to happen at least one point of time in Baroda. I don't know if it happens anymore or not. But biology is basically supporting impression management, and that's why I love this topic so much. So what are we going to do today? આજે આપણે શું કરવાના છીએ? Okay, we are going to, number one, talk about why is there this need for impression management. કેમ જરૂરી છે? Okay, I am myself. તમે કરો, તમે તમારું મગજ મેનેજ કરો. ઘણીવાર અમે લોકોએ આવી રીતનો કોન્વર્સેશન કર્યો હોય કે તમે તમારું નજરિયો મેનેજ કરો, તમે તમારું શું કહેવાય મન મેનેજ કરો, તમે તમારું પરસેપ્શન મેનેજ કરો. હું તો આવી જ છું કે આવો જ છું. Okay, but we are still here today talking about this topic. There must be some truth to the importance of this topic. Second point, what are the situations where we really need to manage impressions? એ કેવા situations હોય જેમાં આપણે અગત્ય બની જાય, like it's very very essential that we have to manage situations, impressions. Then what are the steps to prepare for creating great positive first impressions? And then some tips and techniques, and then live Q&A. And live Q&A ma I'm going to encourage you to ask as many questions. કેમ કે આપણા જે ક્વેશ્ચન્સ અને ક્વોલિટી ઓફ ક્વેશ્ચન્સ અમે લોકો પૂછીએ, that determines કે આપણું કેટલું એક્ટિવ લર્નિંગ થયું છે. See, we had this small sessions where I asked you to use your reaction button to give thumbs up. I asked you to write yes in the chat box. કેમ કે આમાંથી learning is not just passive. આપણે ફોન પે ઉપાડીને આમ બેસીને નથી જોઈ રહ્યા. We are actively engaging ourselves. Okay, so that is where it becomes important. Okay, now I'll tell you my first story of impression management. So my first impression of first impressions. અને તમે જોયું હશે National Assessment Accreditation Council, जो NAC જેને કહેવાય, emblem just popped up from the other side. Now why? I was in university and I was still a student, not a teacher, so student. And like થોડું શું કહેવાય, like the qualitatively I was like always the person જે બહુ જ questions પૂછતી હતી કે ભાઈ આવું કેમ like આવું નહીં. So I had this interaction with one of my professor and I'm like, આ તમે લોકો શું કરી રહ્યો છો, આખું તમે શું કહેવાય, when that's not the truth. સાચેમાં તમે જે કરો છો, like, or the teaching that you do, just focus on that. Just tell NAC committee when they come for assessment that we are focusing on teaching. આ બધું aesthetic beautifying પર અમે લોકો focus નથી કરતા. And he told me a very interesting topic, or shouldn't even say topic. He said a very interesting thing to me, and that interesting thing was he asked me that tell me this thing. Imagine it's your best friend's birthday party. And I'm like, okay. And to your best friend's birthday party, will you just put up anything? Or will you dress up in some good party clothes? Will you buy a gift for her? Or will you just show up like nothing in your, maybe in your night outfit, and you are just there for your best friend's birthday party? And I'm like, no, I'm going to dress up like whatever, however the party is. So if the party is inside a place, I'll dress accordingly. If it's like open air, I'll dress accordingly. I'll buy a gift for her, something that she really likes. And he says that, aren't you lying at that time to her? Okay. And I was like, no, because she's my friend. Okay. And he's like, if for your friend who already knows how you are trying to manage yourself so well, why not for somebody who really doesn't know you? Why not just put your best foot forward the first time itself? And that got me thinking, and these 3 questions came to my mind at that time. Number 1, is doing things to make a great first impression a type of dishonesty? Am I being dishonest? Am I cheating the person who is perceiving me to liking me more? Okay. And this was the first myth that was busted. Why? કેમ કે ત્યારે મને ખબર પડી કે એવું નથી કે જો હું સારા જો અમે લોકો ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ નાક કમ્યુનિટીની વાત કરીએ તો ત્યાં જે બધું અરેન્જ અમે લોકો કરી રહ્યા હતા, જે અમે લોકો પેઇન્ટ કરી રહ્યા હતા, એ બધું કરી રહ્યા હતા, ઇટ ઇઝ નોટ દેટ અમે લોકો જૂઠું બોલીને એમને ઇમ્પ્રેસ કરવાની ઈચ્છા હતી અમારી. The focus was more કે we have to create an impression because that is the right thing to do. તમારા ઘરમાં કોઈ ગેસ્ટ આવે તો તમે એવું નહીં કહો કે આ દરવાજો ત્યાં છે નીકળી જાઓ. ઓકે, you try to be as polite as possible. Again, the logic is the same. Okay, the logic is the same. Guys, I think somebody's microphone is on because I am getting I'm going to try to, yeah, okay, so I was just getting a feedback in my ear. Sorry about that. So it is not a type of dishonesty. It actually shows preparedness. Okay. Number two, is creating great first impressions more important than the actual action? And this was answered by one of the most popular motivational speakers. His name is Tony Robbins. એમને એવું કીધું હતું કે style, like I'm just trying to now હવે સંક્ષેપમાં explain કરી રહી છું તમને. Style comes before content. Okay, એટલે શું કે જે આપણે, giving you an example, somebody has made your favorite food, જે પણ તમારું favorite food છે imagine કરો. Okay, now don't get hungry right now, થોડુંક હજી વાર છે ડિનર કરવામાં, but somebody has made your favorite food and એ તમને one person એ તમને પ્લાસ્ટિકની થૈલીમાં એ ફૂડ નાખીને આપી રહ્યો છે. Okay, and the other person સારો like box માં કે સારી like you know સારી packaging માં એ same વસ્તુ, exact same food that you like. Okay, nothing new, nothing different. It's the same food that you like, and this other person is actually packing in a nicer container. Tame, which one will you pick? Answer it right now. Will you pick the plastic ni thaili or will you pick the good package? Okay, answer right now. Option number 1 is plastic ni thaili. Option number 2 is the good container. Sulesho. Come on, more people involved thao. I've tried to make it very easy. Okay, so most of you, એટલે મને જેટલા દેખાઈ રહ્યા છે એમાં બધા જ good packing કે option number 2 select કરી રહ્યા છે. Now why are you going to eat the packet? Obviously not. No. But why? Because the presentation style comes before content. This is why it is important. This is why before anything we started on the session today, Patel sir put such a lot of effort in introducing me because he was trying to style me up in sorts of ways. And that is why, so style comes before content, but once you reach content, then content becomes more meaningful. Always remember that. I'll give you another example. Imagine this presentation. So you can see this, there's a fancy styling that is done and whatnot you might be able to see right now. Okay, but if this content wasn't appropriate, so the styling makes you look like, okay, this seems to be like a good professional presentation, but if the content wasn't good, you would have been, but that's all it is, right? બીજું એક્ઝામ્પલ ફૂડનું જ આપવું તો કે પેકેજ બહુ સારું હોય પણ અંદરનું જે જમવાનું સારું નહીં હોય. It's not salty if it is supposed to be salty, if it's not sweet if it is supposed to be sweet, it's not tikhu enough if it is has to be tikhu enough. That's the truth behind impression management. Okay, so that's the second thing. Okay, is creating great first impressions more important than the actual content? It's not more important, but remember, style comes before content. Okay, Lastly, how to check if first impression is aligned with the truth? Look for the content. So, for example, jo tame interviewer cho, that's the most popular situation where we see impression management becomes important. Jo tame interviewer cho, in that case, after you have made your impression or after you have derived your impression, look for the content. That's the only way you can check if the impression is aligned with truth. Okay. uh Okay, it adds premiumness to the content. Yes, very nice. I'm really happy. જેવી રીતે તમે લોકો comments આપી રહ્યા છો, it is actually also giving me feedback that આપણે જે directionમાં જઈ રહ્યા છે, that's correct. Okay. કોઈ પણ questions પણ હોય તમે પૂછી શકો છો. I'll do my best to answer them as we are going ahead. Okay. Now, need for impression management and the brain comes there. And I love this image so much because it talks about how multidimensional our brain is. Okay. All right. So human beings are social beings. This we have learned in, I think, third standard SS classes, social sciences classes. Why? Because that's the truth. For human beings, if you see, આપણી જે skin હોય, it's not thick, it's very thin. આપણા જે દાંત છે, we don't have any sharp teeth. આપણા જે હાથ છે કે જે નખ છે, we don't have long nails, or જો long nails હોય પણ આપણા claws જેવા long nails નથી. આપણી પાસે physically એવી કોઈ superiority નથી that like physically, again remember this thing, physically આપણી પાસે કોઈ એવી superiority નથી જેના હિસાબે if I'm in fight with a lion I can even win. There is no superiority. અને જો કોઈ one of આવું માણસ હોય પણ, like some Hercules over there, I'm talking about the general population, but we have still learned to survive. How? Because of the way we function with our mind, the way that our mind has developed. And we had realized, our forefathers, many millions of, like thousands of years ago, they realized that the best way to survive is jo bhega thaine rahiye to. Why? Because એમાં ફાયદો એ થાય કે જ્યારે one person is sick or one person is unwell or like એમને વાગી ગયું છે, ચાલી નથી શકતા, that person will die out of starvation. અને તમે જો એવી રીતે જુઓ, lions ના જે prides હોય, so prides is the group of lion. Okay. જે once another new lion comes અને જે the pride નો જે head ને કાઢી નાખે, that lion dies in a matter of few weeks to a couple of months maximum. Why so? Because ભેગા રહેવા માટે કોઈ હોય નહીં. There is nobody to take care, right? So how do you, so this is the same truth for human beings. So human beings એ જોયું કે ઓકે ના, આપણે ભેગા રહીએ તો એમાં ફાયદો શું થાય? જો આપણને કંઈક નહીં આપણે સારું લાગતું હોય તો there is somebody else who takes care of us. Okay. Now, next point. Like our thousands of years old brain has hardwired that survival is based on social acceptance. Okay. So jo mane koi pan, ane like now situation is much different than those thousands of years ago where આપણે tribes જેને કહીએ ને એ હતા. So tribes would be like a much smaller collection of people who would keep together. Maybe they would go from one place to another based on the food and resources that is available in that place, but they would move around collectively. Okay. So if I am an outsider and if I want to become a part of this tribe, there is no way they will accept me if there will no way I can survive if they do not accept me. And that's why there is so much importance કે ભાઈ social acceptance એટલા માટે જરૂરી છે. હવે આનો ફ્લિપ સાઈડ તમને બતાવીશ. social acceptance is good જ્યારે તમે સ્કૂલમાં જાઓ ને તમે તમારું મારા ફ્રેન્ડ્સ છે, કોણ મારા ફ્રેન્ડ્સ છે, તો પિન્ટુ, પિન્ટી, ટોમી, રાજુ, આ બધા મારા ફ્રેન્ડ્સ છે અને આ તમારું ગ્રુપ બને. Now how that happens? Okay, so that happens because you have collectively interacted with each other, developed some liking with each other and decided कि हाँ चलो हम तो साथ में बैठ के खाना खाएंगे. Okay, this is how our group has been formed. Okay, but otherwise also, if you see, if now you fast forward it to the current generation where social acceptance has a flip side, um, please pause and write down this in a piece of paper that is close to you. Watch the movie The Social Dilemma. The THESOSIAL Social Dilemma, DILEMMEA. Okay, so watch this movie. Why? Because it also talks you to you about the flip side of social acceptance. એ મૂવીમાં એક બહુ સારી વસ્તુ એ લોકો કે આપણે photos મૂકીએ Instagram, Facebook, and God knows where all places there are so many platforms right now that I don't think I can even possibly count it. Okay, but whatever social media platform you exist on, okay, now you put something over there. Now there are 10 people that said that, oh, very nice, congratulations, blah blah blah. But then one person says that, oh, but your hair doesn't look nice. Now, for all those 10 people who've said really nice, kind, positive things to you, our brain just gets into, oh no, but this one person has rejected me. And આ બધું falsified છે. This is not real. There is a reason why it's called virtual world. Okay, because it is not real. Okay, there is a reason why it is called a virtual world. So that is why social acceptance is, there's a flip side of social acceptance when we look it through the virtual world, but otherwise it is a very important strategy of being able to survive. And across all cultures, religions, communities, and communal practices, કોઈ પણ તમે જાતની group તમે જુઓ, they create social, they have certain conditions for being accepted socially or not. Okay, they all have to do that. um I don't know if you have seen the movie PK, but he says this interesting statement. He says this, that dharam ka nata phaisan se hai. That is what he says. And why he says it, because he's talking again into this very important factor of impression management. કે જો તમે પાછળ તમને દેખાઈ રહ્યું હશે કે એક સરદારજી ઉભા છે ને એક કદાચ એક જૈન માણસ ઉભા છે, રાઈટ? Now how are we recognizing? આપણે એમના કપડા જોઈને એમને રેકોગ્નાઇઝ કરી રહ્યા છે ને કહી રહ્યા છે કે આ કયા ધર્મના હોઈ શકે, રાઈટ? Now this is, and પછી એવું ખબર પડે કે જે સરદારજી છે, he is not a સરદારજી, and the જૈન છે, he is actually a Christian fellow, and એવી રીતે telling you कि कोई पण તમે collection of people जो, they will have some conditions to create a sense of whether you belong or you do not belong, right? This is where, so this is આપણે બહુ depth માં ગયા છે આજે on this topic of impression management कि આ ખાલી સારા કપડા હું પહેરું is not the only thing. It is, there are, the conditions are already set in on how social acceptance is to be created. અને આ જે conditions છે, these are all supported by biological imperatives also, or social imperatives also. I'll give you an example. I studied in MSU, and there is one thing that I observed कि જેટલા મણિપુરીઝ હતા એક સાથે ફરતા હતા, જેટલા રાજસ્થાની હતા એક સાથે ફરતા હતા, જેટલા સાઉથ ઇન્ડિયન્સ હતા એક સાથે ફરતા હતા. અને it would be very rare, I think મારું એક એકલું ગ્રુપ હતું જેમાં આપણે લોકો બધા જ ખીચડી પડેલા હતા. પણ અમે like in that ખીચડી also there were certain rules that, okay, અમે લોકો કોઈ પણ આ ત્રણ કેટેગરીમાં તો ભરી નથી શકતા. neither are we Manipuris, nor are we Rajasthanis, nor are we South Indians. Okay, so અમે લોકો એક નવી કેટેગરી ચાલુ કરી હતી. ચાલુ તો like again, we've not done it formally, but આવી નવી કેટેગરી બની ગઈ હતી જેમાં અમે લોકો ખીચડી હતા. Okay, but again, that is again a rule that had been created. Okay, so that is why it is so important to talk about need for impression management. Okay, now situations where we really need to manage impressions, અને જો મોટા મોટા જોઈએ, mostly we end up having two places where we really need to manage impressions. Okay, first, and if anybody has to guess, you can even guess in the chat box, but at a professional level, an interview is the situation where we really want to manage our first impression well. Okay, and secondly, At a personal level, now this may look like, it could be like a romantic relationship that you're trying to start, where you really, so like you put on perfume. And again, I'm going to go back to PK, but like, he wants to impress this girl, so he's putting on all types of perfume and ends up stinking anyways. But that's the idea, right? On a personal level, this is one place. Or even if you have to create relationship with people you don't know, like friends. So you, the first, remember the first day you went to school, jo yaad hoy to, nahi yaad hoy to please go and irritate your mom and dad to tell you what it was like. Okay, પહેલા દિવસ જઈને તમે લોકો ત્યાં ગયા અને બધા જ રડતા હતા, તો તમે પણ બધી જ સાથે, you became a part of that music. And something in your brain said that, oh, the way I am crying and that person is crying is great, let's become friends. અને એ જ વસ્તુ એ બીજા માણસના મનમાં આવી હોય કે ઓકે યા ક્રાઇંગ ને કંઈક સૂર મળી રહ્યા છે, so to say, let's become friends. But that is basically the center point. આ જે બે સિચ્યુએશન્સ હોય જેમાં લગભગ સૌથી વધારે people want to manage their impression. Okay, at a professional level, of course, because that accumulates not just to an employment. જો તમારી સારી impression, સારો communication થયો હોય, so you will get an employment, that is one thing. But an employment is connected to a much larger social picture. કે જો તમે unemployed હોય, so there is certain way that society looks at you. So basically, managing impression in that interview influences how you manage impression with the rest of the social circle you are in. Okay, જો job મળી તો લોકો તમને કહેશે વાહ બાપુ પાર્ટી આપો. જો job નહીં મળી, so you can have like two kind of reactions. ના ચલો વાંધો નહીં, મળી જશે. ઓર બીજો એવો કે આને શું થયું છે, આને કઈ ઇન્ટરવ્યુમાં થઈ બની જ નથી રહ્યું, કેમ એવું થયું હશે, આ તો એટલો ઈઝી હતો. Right? Both our situations are possible. So that's why, again, it is very important about how at professional level I manage my perception, because that influences my reality somewhere else. Personal level પણ આ વાત સાચી છે, and it's very important right now to talk about romantic relationships in some form, because nobody talks there out loud. આપણે પેરેન્ટ્સ સાથે રોમેન્ટિક રિલેશનશિપ ડિસ્કસ નથી કરી શકતા, બીકોઝ અગેન આપણા સોશિયલ નોર્મ્સ બનેલા છે. રાઈટ, આપણે પેરેન્ટ્સને જઈને કહીએ that મમ્મી ડેડી, what is dating, what is courtship, they will just like chase you away અને કહેશે કે like હવે પરણી લો એને, પરણી લો. Again, this could be other way also. ઘણા પેરેન્ટ્સ છે જે હવે કમ્યુનિકેટ કરી રહ્યા છે, but I'm just giving you an example. And this also influences your larger picture. જો આવું નહીં હોત, Devdas would not have made so much money that it did. It would have not put Sanjay Leela Bhansali on the map in the way that it did. કેમ? એમાં શું હતું કે માણસને પ્રેમ હતું અને પ્રેમ નહીં મળ્યો, right? And like, drank himself to death. Okay, and it is resonated because there is some truth that there is to that kind of a dynamics. જો આપણે the main relationship, I really like that person and I'm not able to create a rapport, a relationship with that person, જો આ નહીં બને, it influence મારું ભણવાનું influence થાય, મારું કામ કરવાનું, like my speed of work, my concentration, driving, બધું જ influence થાય. Right? So this is mainly the larger picture. Okay, now preparing for creating great positive first impressions, and there are 3 things you can do. Number 1, get the details. Jare anytime you have to create a positive first impression, I will say get as much information as possible about that situation. Again, જો તમારું ઇન્ટરવ્યુ થવાનું હોય, so what will be the details? The details will be company કઈ છે, interviewer કોણ છે, કયા like what is the business of the company, company na mission, vision, value statements શું છે, company na who's the main leadership in the company, how does that impact the general kind of perception that is there around that company. I'm going to get as much details as possible about the role also, that what is the role that I'm going to be interviewed for. So let's say CA. So I'm going to be interviewed for being hired as a CA. Then, okay, so what will be the daily expectations? Because not all CAs in the world do the exact same thing. When you are hired by different type of company, the role will obviously change. So how long do they want me to work? What is the main roles and responsibilities that I need to fulfill? So that's the one very important. Get as much detail as possible. Okay, this is all part of preparing. હજી આપણે impression કર્યું નથી. We've not created the impression yet. Okay, we are just talking about કેવી રીતે આપણે prepare કરીએ. Number 2, very important. Get the clarity. Clarity about who? Myself. જો આ ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશન છે, જો આ રોલ છે, તો હું આ બંનેઓમાં ફિટ કેવી રીતે થઉં છું? Okay, how do I become a part of this organization or this collection of interaction that I'm having? Get clarity about your own self. મારા કયા strengths છે જો આમાં contribute કરશે? મારા કયા weaknesses છે જેમને મને improve કરવું પડશે? Have that clarity. Once you have that clarity, interviewer કઈ પણ તમને પૂછે. So you again remember this thing. First, get the details about the where you have your interview. Second, get clarity about your own self with respect to that interview. I mean, tamari kadaч clarity hoy that in a gym you can lift, let's say, 50 kilos in both hands. I'm just exaggerating this, but bear with me, okay? But you are going to interview as a CA. Now, that's not going to be your strength in your resume, right? That I can lift 100 kilos with both my arms, okay? That's not going to be that. So clarity about myself with respect to this job. આ job સાથે હું કોણ છું, કે હું કેવી રીતે ફિટ થઉં છું, મારા કયા એક્સપિરિયન્સીસ છે જે આમાં સપોર્ટ કરશે, મારી શું ક્વોલિફિકેશન છે જે આમાં સપોર્ટ કરશે, my strengths, my weaknesses, આ બધું જ મારી ક્લેરિટી થવી જોઈએ. And lastly, practice, practice, practice. તમે ઇન્ટરવ્યુ પહેલા જાઓ એ પહેલા પ્લીઝ યુ હેવ ટુ પ્રેક્ટિસ. એન્ડ પ્રેક્ટિસ હાઉ? પ્રેક્ટિસ નોટ જસ્ટ કે ઓ હા આ લોકો મને આવા ક્વેશ્ચન પૂછશે તો હું આવો આન્સર આપું, લખી લખીને પ્રેક્ટિસ. ગ્રેટ, યુ ક્રિએટ અ સ્ક્રિપ્ટ ફોર યોરસેલ્ફ. પણ પછી બોલીને. My brother had an interview a couple of days ago, and it was a virtual interview. And I said that the organization that you're interviewing with, what language are they going to interview in? So he said that there is one person from like locally from India, and there's another person who's from US, so it's going to be in English completely. And I'm like, great, how about this? Just speak in English with everybody around you for one whole day. Why? Because your brain starts becoming, in Indians we are all multilingual. અમે બધા જ લોકો, I'm still yet to meet one person who's in India who speaks only one language. આજ સુધી હું મળી નથી, okay? But we are multilingual. અને એમાં શું થાય કે the primary language that we are using, we end up thinking also in that way, okay? તો જો હું ફોકસ કરું the language in which I want to communicate for the interview, અને એમાં જ હું વાતો કરું, my brain starts also thinking in that language. તમારું જો ટીવીનું ડિશ હોય ને એને તમે થોડુંક એડજસ્ટ કરી રહ્યા છો એવું વિચારો, કે લાઈક there is a dish in your mind and the dish connects English, Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi. તમે લઈને એને સ્ટિલ્ટ કરી રહ્યા છો અને ઇંગ્લિશમાં ફોકસ કરી રહ્યા છો. How? By just speaking in that language, okay? And once you do that, it gets you into that cycle, easy cycle of moving ahead. All right, so that's practice. Please practice in front of the mirror સામે બેસીને. ઘણીવાર લોકોને એવું હોય, ના 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 મને કોઈની સામે નથી કરવું કેમ કે એ શું વિચારશે. પહેલી વાત એ કે એ શું વિચારશે, તમે વિચારો તો પછી એ શું વિચારશે. I love that saying because it is so true. If you think about what people are thinking about you, then what will people think? Okay. And there is so much truth to that, okay? And I really love that saying because of the influence that that saying has, okay? So if that is the case, I'm not going, that's a discussion for another day, but stand in front of the mirror, sit in front of the mirror, અને communicate કરો. તમારા ઇમેજિન કરો કે ક્વેશ્ચન્સ કેવા તમારા થયા હશે. રિમેમ્બર, યુ હેવ ગોટ ધ ડિટેલ્સ, યુ હેવ ગોટ યોર ક્લેરિટી. તમે ઇન્ફોર્મેશન બહારથી સાની માટે તમે ઇન્ટરવ્યુ કર્યો છે એ પ્રિપેર કર્યો છે. બીજું તમે કેવી રીતે એમાં ફિટ થાવ છો એ પ્રિપેર કર્યો છે. third step is practice. You cannot skip this test. ઓડ નું ચોડ નથી કરી શકતા. Like, you know, you cannot first get clarity and then get details, કે પહેલા પ્રેક્ટિસ કરી લો ને પછી ડિટેલ્સ શોધો. એવું નહીં બને આમાં. It has to follow this order for maximum impact, or for the right impact, I should say. Okay, so get the clarity, so get the details, get the clarity, practice, practice, practice. Virtual જો તમે ઇન્ટરવ્યુઝ માટે પ્રિપેર કરી રહ્યા હોય, then please practice. લેપટોપ ખોલો કે તમારું ફોન ખોલો. જો તમારું ફોનમાં તમે ઇન્ટરવ્યુ કરવાના હોય, એન્શ્યોર દેટ ઇટ ઇઝ ઓન અ સ્ટેડી સ્ટેન્ડ. આપણું હલતું હલતું ઇન્ટરવ્યુ નથી જોઈતું. ઓકે, બટ બેસ્ટ ઇઝ વિથ અ લેપટોપ. રેકોર્ડ કરો, તમારા આન્સર્સ રેકોર્ડ કરો, તમારી સ્પીડ રેકોર્ડ કરો, તમે કેટલા ફાસ્ટ બોલી રહ્યા છો, શું શબ્દો વાપરી રહ્યા છો, એ બધું જ તમે રેકોર્ડ કરો એન્ડ પ્લે ઇટ બેક. તમને તરત જ ફીડબેક મળી જશે. આર યુ લુકિંગ એટ ધ સ્ક્રીન જ્યારે તમે ઇન્ટરવ્યુ આપો છો, કે આર યુ લુકિંગ એટ ધ કેમેરા? હમણાં મારું તમારી સાથે સારું આઈ કોન્ટેક્ટ એટલા માટે છે બીકોઝ આઈ એમ નોટ લુકિંગ એટ માય સ્ક્રીન, આઈ એમ જસ્ટ લુકિંગ ઇન ધ કેમેરા. This is the way you create in શું કહેવાય, eye contact in the virtual world of sorts. Okay, now the last part of today's discussion, tips and techniques for making a great impression. Number one, plan your appearance beforehand and test it. Okay, now what does that mean? What does that mean? If you're going for an interview, uh, try and ensure that your outer appearance, you try it once. Don't just say that, okay, I'm going to wear that shirt, especially if this is the first time or the first few times that you're going to an interview. તમે વેટરન છો, વેટરન એટલે કે તમે બહુ બધા ઇન્ટરવ્યુઝ આપી દીધા છે, હવે બહુ એક્સપિરિયન્સ થઈ ગયું છે, ને કદાચ તમે 5-6 વર્ષ એક જગ્યાએ જોબ કરીને હવે બીજી જગ્યાએ જઈ રહ્યા છો, તો this might look a little different for you. પણ જો આપણે બેસિક સ્ટાર્ટ થઈ રહ્યા છે, તો wear the clothes that you are going to wear for that interview. Stand or sit the way you're going to sit with that interview. Do it in front of a mirror, તો તમને તરત જ ફીડબેક મળે that is this working or not. Okay, if you are going for an interview and let's say if you're a woman and you have to put on some makeup, please test that makeup, because makeup for an interview looks very different from makeup for a Navratri night. It looks very, very different. Okay, second point, this is a very important tip. Design contingencies of what may work, what not work, and how you can respond. એટલે કે આપણે જ્યારે પ્રિપેર કરીએ, ઘણી વાર we see only one thing, કે હા મને આવું પૂછશે પછી હું આવું આપીશ, પછી એ આવું પૂછશે પછી એ આવું આપીશ. Okay, but what if the person feels that my answer did not work for them? How will I manage with that situation? Okay, so આવું પણ જુઓ that it is important to manage your impression, but it is also important to see that what can you do if your impression is not really going the way you want to. Okay, તો તમારું you have prepared very well for the interview, તમે બેઠા છો, પણ તમને એમના facial expressions થી કદાચ એવું લાગી રહ્યું હોય કે ભાઈ you know that they are not pleased, or એમને નહીં મજા આવી રહી તમારા questions માં. So then you can just like quickly plan it beforehand કે તમે કેવી રીતે એ સિચ્યુએશનમાં રિસ્પોન્ડ કરશો. If you don't plan, then પછી પરસાવો થાય, your mouth becomes dry, your hands become clammy. You don't want to get into that situation, and once you're prepared, you will not get into that situation. Connect with people and ask for feedback. Anywhere, anytime you are in an interaction. અને ઘણીવાર મેં લોકોને એવું પણ કીધું છે, જો તમે ઇન્ટરવ્યુ આપ્યો અને એ લોકોએ સિલેક્ટ નથી કર્યો, HR ને પૂછો કે તમે થોડાક મને પોઈન્ટર્સ આપી શકો છો કે like what was missing, what were you looking for? It will help me improve. And you are just asking for 1-2 points of feedback. Okay, it doesn't take much time and loko api de che. It is not very difficult. If you can connect with people around you and લોકો સાથે પ્રેક્ટિસ જ્યારે તમે કરો ઇન્ટરવ્યુઝ માટે ખાસ કરીને, એમને કહો કે તમને ફીડબેક આપે. How was it? How well did you do? Now, last point and very, very, very important point. Know that mistakes are a tool to learn from and improve life. ઘણીવાર એવું થાય આપણે ઇન્ટરવ્યુ માટે કે જે પણ માટે આપણે ગયા હોય, and we realize that but you know like મારાથી ભૂલ થઈ ગઈ, and then we get so fixated કે મારાથી ભૂલ થઈ ગઈ that we stop really doing or integrating કે મારે ભૂલથી મને શીખવા શું મળ્યું to improve my life. We just get stuck there કે મારે ભૂલ થઈ ગઈ, મારી ભૂલ થઈ ગઈ, મારી ભૂલ થઈ ગઈ. હવે એની ભૂલની હવે તમે how are you going to put it into your life? Don't answer that. So what we are going to do now is we are going to take away mistakes forever, okay, from our life. Okay, so here is where I'm going to encourage you, if you can, you can put on your microphones, but if you do that, either put your headphone, if you have a headphone only, then put your microphone on, because if you have a headphone, then we don't get the background sound. Okay, everybody put on your microphone. If you can't put on your microphone, don't worry, I'm going to say this, તમે લોકો જ્યાં છો ત્યાં પણ કહી શકો છો, but એકવાર આપણે આ બધું જ સાથે બોલવાના છે. Okay, so for those who want to put on your microphone, do it right now. For those who don't, repeat after me. Okay, હું જે કહું છું એ મારી પાછળ કહેજો. Okay, number 1, mistakes are okay. Everybody say it.
Mistakes are okay.
Okay.
Once again, mistakes are okay. Repeat after me.
Mistakes are
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Mistakes are good.
Mistakes
Mistakes
are
are
good.
good.
Are good.
Once more. Mistakes are good.
Mistakes are good.
Are good.
Okay, next one. Mistakes are tools to learn from. Go.
Mistakes
are
are
tools
tools
to
to learn
Tools to
from.
learn from.
Once more. Mistakes are tools to learn from.
Mistakes
Mistakes
are tools to learn
tools
from.
to learn from.
Learn from.
Now, very, very important. I can make mistakes.
I can
can
make
make
Can make
mistakes.
mistake.
Once more. I can make mistakes. Go.
I
I
can
can make
Make
mistakes.
mistakes.
Now, more important than the sentence before. I am allowed to make mistakes. Go.
I
am
am
I am
allowed to make
allowed to
mistakes.
make mistakes.
Once more. I am allowed to make mistakes. Go.
I am allowed to make mistakes.
Very important. I am allowed to learn from mistakes. Go.
I am
I am
allowed
allowed
to learn from my
mistakes.
mistakes.
Once more. I am allowed to learn from mistakes.
I
I
am
am
allowed to
allowed
learn
to
from
learn from
mistakes.
mistakes.
Okay. We are going to say this again. Repeat after me. Mistakes are okay.
Mistakes
Mistakes are
are
okay.
okay.
Are okay.
Mistakes are good.
Mistakes
Mistakes
are
are
good.
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 Mistakes are tools to learn from.
Mistakes
Mistakes
are
are tools to
tools
learn
to learn
from.
from.
I can make mistakes.
I
I
can
can
make
Can
make
mistakes.
make
mistakes.
mistakes.
I am allowed to make mistakes.
I am
I
I
allowed
am
to
allowed
make
to make
mistakes.
mistakes.
I am allowed to learn from mistakes.
I am
I
I
am
am
allowed
allowed to learn
from
from
mistakes.
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 Brilliant. Now, find someone that you can high five, and if you can't, just high five yourself like this. I don't know if you saw this or not, but you can just high five yourself like this. Like I do that with myself all the time. See, virtual world, we have to become creative, okay? So go high five somebody right now. And please do, either you can speak or you can put it in the chat box. How did you feel after repeating these sentences? I'm looking at chat box. Either speak on your microphone or you can look at the chat box. Relieved? I love that answer. Relieved. Thank you so much, Vedant, especially for sharing that. That next time I won't feel so bad after making mistakes. And that's the thing, right? We have been taught to fear mistakes. I remember my dad used to say, "Galti nahi honi chahiye." Before my exams, he used to tell me, "Galti nahi honi chahiye." But mistakes are good. If you can, I'll go give you the name of a book. I don't know again because I cannot see myself right now. Let me see if I can see myself. Okay. Can you see this?
Well,
The name of the
yeah,
book
it
is
is
The
talent.
Talent Code.
Yeah, talent. Yeah.
The Talent Code. That's the name of the book. It's by Daniel Coyle. I have the DVD version for it, by the way. And he talks about that. Um, and he has done this research across multiple fields. So he has researched musicians, soccer players, scientists, astronauts, okay, the world renowned, okay, these things. So, and he has done years and years of research, and he has worked with people who have done years and years of research before him. And they were talking about how do we unlock the talent code. And they said, like, like how do we see that, what is the truth behind talent, so to say. And what he found is that people who were rapidly improving their talent were people who were making mistakes and immediately improving from there. So it's called a stacking effect. That means that, let's say if you're a soccer player, I'll give you another example. Let's say if you are a batsman, okay, and you realize that a certain way you bat, you really it clean bowls your stumps every time, okay. If that is something that now you do that, you actually deliberately do those mistakes a couple of times. That how do I get clean bowl easily, how do I get clean bowl easily. What they say is, once the brain maps that, oh, you know what, these are all the ways I can make a mistake, now I know not to do these things. So your brain like will switch and will be like, okay, learned, got the information. And then you follow up again. The practice will be focused on now how not to do those things which clean bowls your wicket. Okay, so that's a book for you. Okay, once again, we are going to say something good, and you don't need to unmute your microphone right now for this, but this is something I want to end with. um Again, repeat after me. You don't need to unmute yourself. You can do it wherever you are. I am okay. Okay, once again, repeat it after me. I am okay. Great. I am good. Once more. I am good. Last. I am awesome. And say it the way I said it, okay? Don't say I am awesome. This is no way to be awesome. This is very robotic. You are not robotic, okay? So everyone, like the way I say it. If you can do the actions, if you're not driving or anything, you can do the action with me. I am awesome. Okay, once more. I am awesome. And the reason why we do this, so like again, with mistakes on one side and these words on the other side, there's another moment of high five that we have created, because the simple reason is we are trying again to let ourselves know that we still have control. We still have, shouldn't even use the word control, but I still can influence this world. ઘણી વાર આપણને એવું લાગે કે ભાઈ આટલું બધું આપણેથી મિસ્ટેક થઈ રહ્યું છે, આવું બધું થઈ રહ્યું છે. Like, stop worrying about those things. Integrate, move ahead. Integrate, move ahead. Integrate, move ahead. I call this the inchworm movement. The worm જોયું છે, worm કોઈ પણ surface પર કેવી રીતે ચાલે, arm એ like it doesn't slide, a arm, like, it pulls itself forward, like, it pulls itself forward. That's how things are with mistake. There will be a moment in the, even if you're looking at this worm moving, there will be a time with this when this worm will be completely flat, but It's not that it has stopped moving, it is just coiling so that it can move ahead. Okay, અને ઘણીવાર લોકો મને એવું પૂછે કે ભાઈ worm કેમ worm? મેં કીધું because we are worms. We are all worms in this world. But the interesting things about worms is, if you look at worms, worms are also in this journey. જ્યારે પછી એ લોકો cocoon બનાવે અને એમાંથી એ લોકો butterfly બને. We are all worms in this world. અને એક ટાઈમ એવું આવશે જ્યારે આપણે cocoon માં જઈશું, પણ એ cocoon માં જતા પછી જ આપણે butterfly બનીને ઉડીશું. બટ જો અમે લોકો મૂવ નહીં કરીએ, અમે લોકો એ બધું વસ્તુ નહીં કરીએ જેનાથી આપણે we have that ability to make that cocoon and take that flight, and એક જગ્યાએ પડ્યા રહીએ, some bird will come and pick us up and go away. Take acknowledgement of the beautiful person you are. Okay, you're okay, you're good, you're awesome. Okay, now having said that, live Q&A, guys. Here is the time. You can ask me questions. Again, you can just unmute yourself. Chat box mari same j khullu che. Okay, somebody's asking what's the name of the book. I'm going to type it. It's The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. I've shared the name of the book, so it's in the chat box for everyone to see. કોઈ પણ પ્રશ્ન હોય, કોઈને અનમ્યુટ કરીને પૂછવું હોય તો પણ મને વાંધો નથી.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi. Actually, I was feeling great because I got someone who is just like me. You told that I love to ask questions, so I too love to ask questions, and I am going to ask you a lot of questions, but mostly 3 are the main topics.
Okay.
In the first slide, we saw that how to check impression alignment with truth. So
Yes.
I didn't understand that point, what you
Okay.
told for that.
Right. So I will give you an example from a dating point of view, and I'm going to be talking about it as it's a very normal thing. I'm not going to hush it. I'm not going to say it's good or bad, but I'm going to give you an example. Let's say 2 people are dating each other. Okay, now these 2 people are dating, they wear their best of clothes whenever they meet, they are dressed up well, they're smiling, they're very pleasant. Okay, and then they start interacting, where they start asking questions. Okay, so what do you do? Okay, what do you do? Okay, what needs to happen in this interaction is that you need to confirm whether the content that is being shared is aligned with the person himself. Okay, if you know this, and now I'm going to go back to the interviewing stuff. In an interview, what they do is after they interview you, they'll always do a background check. Why do they do a background check? Because they are trying to confirm that the candidate who walked in is really the person who he or she says he or she is. Okay, so that is the thing. To know the truth with the impression, look for the content, verify the content. Okay, no matter who you're meeting with. Again, I'm saying in friendship, in dating, in interviewing, no matter which of these 3 main situations that there are in the world where we really work hard to manage impressions, that's what you need to look for to begin with. I hope I answered your question.
So we need to first check that what we are saying is aligned with what is true. Like
Yeah.
if I don't like, suppose I don't like noodles, but I say I like noodles, then that's false.
Yes, very much. So now, but let's say you are meeting this person for the first time, and you really want this person to like you, and they for some reason take you to a Chinese place, and they say that, will you have some noodles? Okay, now you really don't like noodles, but there are 2 things you can do. One thing is you can do is okay, chalo theek hai, like, once in a while ka baat hai, and you eat it up. Okay, and you just try to get through with that situation. Or what you can say is, if you don't mind, I would like to go for something else, because I'm not very much a big fan of noodles, but I would really like you to have the noodles. Okay, so understand this thing. There is the impression management doesn't mean that you have to lie about who you are. It means that there is a way to communicate about who you are. So ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे नूडल्स नहीं पसंद, कोई नूडल्स नहीं खाएगा. It's about where you are expressing yourself, the right to be yourself, and also allowing the other person the right to be themselves. ऐसा नहीं है कि मुझे मैं जैसे कहूँ वैसे ही सबको रहना है, मैं जैसे हूँ वैसे मुझे रहना है, बट मैं दूसरे को भी रिस्पेक्ट कर रही हूँ कि उनको जैसे रहना है वो रह सकते हैं. So you have been in this incomplete interaction, you have been very courteous, and you have also completely like been truthful. आपने झूठ नहीं बोला या आपने ऐसा, you didn't put up with it. And I really don't like situations where people are just putting up with things, because वो sustainable नहीं होता है कि हाँ ठीक है आज नूडल्स खा लिया कल फिर नूडल्स मिला तो कब तक. Sometimes it happens कि people change and they are like हाँ मुझे noodles अब अच्छे लगने लगे हैं, but just giving as an example.
So does it also imply that we should background check the other person's truth?
Okay, so here is where I will go back to this again. Here, the first thing is get the details. So that doesn't mean that if I'm talking about a dating situation, it doesn't mean that now you are stalking that person. आप वो जहां जहां जा रहे हैं आप वो प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टिगेटर की तरह आप उसके पीछे पीछे जाके फोटोज खींच रहे हो, ये ले रहे हो, that's creepy. Okay, that doesn't mean नहीं वैसा नहीं. But sure, like you like this person, you might go to their Facebook page, you might see a couple of photographs, आपको idea आएगा क्योंकि it seems that like you see कि बहुत सारे photos है, कहीं कुत्ते हैं, कहीं बिल्ली है, कहीं squirrels, and you get a sense that okay, this person seems to be like an animal lover. Okay, कुछ आपको information मिलेगा, and that's okay, you are just getting the details. Okay, you are just getting the details about this person. Now let's say you find that this person is an animal lover, but you don't want to be near any animal at all. आपको cringe होता है उससे. तो that is the second point कि वहां पे आप clarity ला रहे हो. Now this is a time where you are answering the question कि do you still want to pursue या नहीं, and pursue with the intention कि वो वैसे ही रहेंगे और आप जैसे ही रहोगे तो क्या, right? उनको घर में पूरा चिड़ियाघर खोलना होगा और आपको नहीं खोलना है. So then practice what can, and जैसे इसमें हमने बोला ना, practice what may work, what may not work, and how you can respond if you still want to pursue it, and it's okay. And then the best thing, it's okay to make mistakes also, कोई बात नहीं. But हम लोग जब भी research करते हैं, जब भी हम लोग details लेते हैं, we are getting it from the point of view नहीं that how can that information help me improve myself. मैं इसीलिए वो रिसर्च नहीं कर रही हूँ क्योंकि मुझे जानना है कि हाँ ये लड़की अच्छी है या नहीं, या ये लड़का ठीक है या नहीं, या ये लड़के ने सच में वहां पढ़ाई किया है या नहीं. Not because of that. I am doing to improve my knowledge of interacting with this person. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
And it was this points with contingencies. What is means